could come into the room. So here we go, and I think where you might see these bands coming out. Oh, we're not actually going to see the actual bands, I don't think. Just banning out Zillion Ziggs from the back. And so Alistar was either banned or just not picked at all. I think he probably was banned. If
it would make the most sense to me for him to be banned. And interestingly, we see, it is Nintendo X that is missing from Team Dynamic, so will be replaced by Atlanta. We see some kind of unusual picks. We see a Yorick for Zion Spartan, and I only call that unusual because it doesn't really fit the aggressive playstyle that I tend to see from him top lane. Like, he doesn't really help out in ganks an incredible amount, but they may try something such as a 1v2 bottom lane, which is generally why teams will pick up Yorick, allow him to try to, get a little bit of farm 1v2 and then completely deny the opposing team of farm. We do see Probably on Kennen, that is one of the champions he is known for. We see a Leona Corki bottom lane, very dominant, and it looks like Cruiser may play Aurelia top lane. On the opposing side, it is Olaf, Nunu, and Misfortune. So that Nunu Misfortune lane really strong early on, and Paradoxical will be playing that Cassiopeia, also very well known for that. So actually the AP champions kind of got their pick of the litter in this, and are probably pretty stoked about what they have. So we're going to see how they match up middle. Cassiopeia, of course, really has that early game presence, early game potential for burst damage and getting those kills, whereas Kennen has such great teamfight presence. And like I said, Mortis, somewhat known for his Amumu, is going to be playing that, and the Amumu into Kennen combination sounds so deadly on paper, and I suspect they'll be able to pull it out to great effect as well.
Yep, and it's interesting to note that Nintendo Dex is actually known for his jungle Olaf, and here we have Atlanta taking his place playing jungle Olaf.
Yep. That is pretty interesting, and we'll see how he's going to be able to pull it out. We'll see if there's the same synergy, because one of the great things about Team Dynamic is the synergy between Zion Spartan and Nintendo Dex that really allows them to dominate the top lane, even against the best competition in the world. So hopefully Atlanta will be able to fill those shoes in, and it's always harder when you're picking someone up. And I'm going to kind of run through, check out some runes, see if I see anything interesting, and I will, of course, let you know if I do.
Yep, so as you said, you had a pretty good summary of each of these team comps. So, you're going to have that Amumu ult with that Kennen ult should be very deadly, and maybe even have a Leona ult if they're grouped up enough, and that should be able to get a lot of CC on TD and do a lot of AoE damage. Meanwhile, we also have some AoE CC from TD as well with the Nunu ult and the Cassiopeia ult, but nothing on the level of the Amumu and Kennen ults.
No, absolutely not. And of course, Nunu is a great champion and has that great ultimate, and it does do increased damage after the most recent patch, but playing from a support position, he's not going to have the items to really make it do a lot of damage. We do see very similar builds from along the room pages from all sides of the coin, so nothing too unusual have I come across yet, and once again I will let you know if I do see anything. So far no sale as to anything unusual or exciting that is out of the norm.
It seems like we're always looking for something out of the norm in these tournaments. You guys were very excited by a Yi pick. That was actually just a filler pick, but it's something that can really make these things exciting. But I mean, games can still be exciting even with traditional champions. So we'll see how this game turns out.
Thing of note is actually, Aurelia is running attack speed and then attack damage points. That's not too unusual. Atlanta on Olaf is actually foregoing the use of any sort of magic resistance and actually has armor pen, attack damage, and attack speed. So a really full, quick jungle clearing Olaf build is, I guess, the idea they're going after, and we'll probably have to build some magic resistance, through his items, as he's not getting any base from those runes. Does have some scaling, and of course Olaf is one of the tankier champions in the game, does get some bonus defenses from his ultimate, as well as that CC immunity. So we shall see how it turns out, if that extra little speed in the jungle he decides on will be effective. A lot of Mortis actually running extra armor in his quintessences, which is a little bit unusual, and also running magic pen, so he's kind of not going for the fastest clearing strategy, which would, I think, be getting attack speed or armor pen on a Mumu, but going for the later game, the mid to late game, and the PvP aspect, getting that magic penetration instead.
Yep, so we have around 15 seconds left until we get in game, so we'll have the loading screen and our skins up for you shortly.
Absolutely. And 3, 2, and 1 once again. LeagueCraft ggClassic brought to you by Arcade. Very excited to be here. Very excited to cast. Had some very exciting games so far.
So here we go, and hopefully we don't bug out like we have before.
I'm golden. I am golden.
Actually, I'm getting the little bug when it's on the bottom right side, so I am going to fix that after we get in-game, but you can go over the skins for us if you want.
Yeah, Legion actually has a decisive victory in the skin battle. 4 out of 5 skins to the 2 out of 5, or actually 3 out of 5 for Team Dynamic, but what really sends them over the top is Iron Solari Leona, which is really good, Frostblade Aurelia, which is very exciting to me, and I also like Little Knight Amumu. He's so cute as he runs about. So we're going to see what they decide to go here in the jungle. It looks like both junglers also starting with boots 3 pots. That's pretty standard, and actually mimicking items across the board. The only one thing out of place and unusual is one singular mana potion picked up by Yorick. That is Zion Spartan, so he'll be using that top lane just to get that little extra bit of harass out.
I'm actually taking a while to get into the game, so bear with me for a little while I try to get my game up and running for you guys.
Oh my goodness, but there is going to be an engage here. Zion Spartan does get caught by Amumu. The bandage toss does land on Leona, actually picks up the first blood. And that is pretty effective for us to get it, and a lot of summoner skills are blown by Team Dynamic. Actually, it was just the flash of of Nunu there. So only the flash of Nunu went down. Actually, Zion Spartan did not flash away, got almost instantly bursted down. Exhaust is down from Inubish on Leona. The Ignite is down for Corki. Ignite is down for Probably. So they probably stacked those up. But otherwise, a really good start for Legion in the sense that they were able to pick up that kill. So they're 600 gold in the lead. But now that they're really, a lot of Mortis is like, someone help me kill these minions. And it does look like he will get some assistance from his team. Obviously, Atlanta going to get some assistance over on his side as well. Everyone wanted to go back and perhaps buy their next item. Leona picks up boots, which should really help out in that bottom lane, help her land combinations, and help that lane be very effective and dominant. So, while Zero fixes this, we are...
I'm actually back in, so...
Oh, okay.
Yep. I just actually had to rewind to watch the First Blood, but I was able to show you guys the First Blood. We see York coming down to actually maybe challenge this blue buff, and Legion does see it, so they're waiting around. And then York backs off, and Legion starts this blue buff. York is still in the area, so he's going to back off as... Oh, actually gaining a little bit of damage on this Kennen before backing off, and Kennen actually already being forced to use a health potion.
Yep, and he does miss that shuriken, and it was a really great strategy by Zion Spartan because while he was doing that, they allowed the bottom lane to pick up red buff. So they slightly delayed Amumu, and then they got the red buff of Legion. So, obviously Legion pretty happy, did get that first blood, did get a little bit of a lead there. But now that they've lost their red buff, the bottom lane might have a little bit of an issue, especially because the advantage went to bottom lane. Leona did pick up that first blood, did get those boots, so had the advantage of attempting to be aggressive. But now, when the opposition has red buff, you don't really want to go on the offensive. That's a battle you'll likely lose.
Yep. And actually, we see Corki being taken down very low, being forced to use that health potion, and unfortunately really establishing her dominance, and the Nunu is doing a very good job of using those snowballs and trying to zone them out and preventing them from getting close enough to get any CS.
Yeah, and the other thing is we saw Double Up actually procs the on-hit effects. It does say that in its skill thing, applies on-hit effects, so it got 2 for 1 with that red buff, that last Double Up he sent out, and they're just being able to completely zone out Corki, 3 farm on Corki to 17 on MF so far, so something is going to have to happen. They probably do not want to sit around and wait out that red buff. That'll be way too long. Top lane, Zion Spartan doing a good job of forcing Cruiser the Bruiser back. Also out-farming him a little bit, 19 to 8, but a big minion wave is coming Aurelia's way, and she's good at last hitting under tower.
Yep, and we see that York is pretty low on mana, is going to go back, so and have a mana potion as well, so he's going to go back. But early game, Yorick does have trouble with mana despite having that great harass, so let's see how he manages mana there. We see Mumu coming in, maybe looking for try to gank Cassiopeia. Is sticking around for a while. Cassiopeia is staying pretty far back. Is going to come in. Lightning Rush from Kennen. Will a Banish Toss come out? It does not. And with Olaf coming in, they have to back off. Olaf throws on an axe, and they both back away.
Yeah, that was a good idea not to go in for that bandage toss. He would have been put in a compromising position, not necessarily that he would have died, but may have had to burn up Flash, which is something you certainly want to keep alive on a Mumu just so you can engage better and follow up those ganks. So kind of, not a passive game. Clearly, bottom lane has been, being forceful and being dominant, and Legion still does have their lead, but it's slowly being whittled away by the farming of Legion. And we do see some aggression going on top lane. Zion Spartan actually does not. Whoa, that was a little interesting. The ignite went down, but it looks like it might have been on one of the ghouls. I will actually jump back and check that while you keep us in track of live stuff.
It looked like Olaf was trying to go for an inlane gank, but backs off as the Aurelia backs off. And actually, the Corki having to retreat pretty far to prevent a tower dive, as Misfortune and Nunu are actually going very far. They really want to get this kill, but now they're just going to go back in through the jungle and going to go back to their own lane.
I don't know if, I don't think it was you and I casting, but Afromu actually ignited Dragon in a dragon fight at one point, and what did just happen up top lane was Aurelia was going on the offensive, but accidentally ignited one of the minions of Yorick. So they've changed it to, I don't believe you can ignite regular minions anymore, but you can still ignite ghouls apparently, and that is what happened. Obviously a little bit embarrassing, but those ghouls do stack up on top of champions. It is hard to discern between the two of them. Certainly not a really great thing to lose that ignite and lose that advantage that it does give you. So, so Zion Spartan was saved quite a bit of damage because of that missed ignite. And down bottom, we do see some aggression going down. It looks like Legion wants to fight back, but at this point, MF is 2 levels up. Obviously has that blood boil from Nunu, and really just in a bad situation.
Yep, and MF is actually only just 1 level up. Corki did just recently gain a level, but still managing to have a very good lead, able to basically zone Corki out from farming. Once Corki hits 6, he's going to be able to use those rockets to farm, so he should be better off after that. But right now, he's having a ton of trouble.
Yeah, meanwhile, up top, it is 40 CS to 28 for Aurelia, and we see Aurelia going with the Berserker Greaves, which we saw Wicked using early on Aurelia. Not really the most common boots to pick up, but, I guess they were picking up some steam. And finally, Legion gets some breathing room down bottom as Team Dynamic does back off, and now Demon Lil is just farming away, picking up some minion kills, really happy to be alone, and finally get to go that way. We do see kind of an interesting pickup for MF. It looks like a cloth armor pickup, and that might be indicative of a Wriggles rush. Certainly, MF is one of the champions that you can be tempted to go Wriggles into Phantom Dancer because her base damage tends to be pretty high. But we also have some blue buff excitement going on here. Looks like in a really Team Dynamic is excited about invading this.
They were moving before it even spawned, and some axes going down, some poke coming out, and they're just kind of in the area. Aurelia is getting ready to come down, and Leona is actually here as well to try to defend this blue buff. So Team Dynamic might have to be careful that they don't get caught out in a battle that they would lose. But it looks like they're just going to back off, content about just delaying it a little bit, and they're just kind of putting out feelers, trying to see what they could do at that blue buff, but actually both teams have backed off, and nobody's going to take that blue buff.
Yeah, but down bottom, they are completely denying that Corki farm, letting it all get eaten up by that turret. And the other thing I was thinking was, Team Dynamic might be sending up for another red buff steal, but red buff actually was not completely cleared, so it's not respawning at the same time up there. We see a lot of action. Yep,
and actually we see the Olaf coming in and stealing that blue buff, and now looks like Laudermore is trying to get that blue buff, but is going to get caught out, is taking a lot of damage, and will oh no, using that heal, but does fall to the final axe, and now Kennen is trying to get away, using that lightning rush to get away, and does retreat to safety. But a pretty good invade by the Team Dynamic, and they are able to pick up blue buff as well as a kill.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive and pretty amusing. It looks like they were going to let Amumu get away, and then that final axe flew in there. So they steal the blue buff, they steal a big wolf, they get a kill. They're now at 1,000 gold in the lead, despite giving up that first blood. And it looks like they're also countering the red buff at the same time,
Yep.
and they do steal it. So bottom lane has been harassed to heck and back. The poor Corki and poor Leona can't really do much against a MF and Nunu combination that has red buff, and that's certainly, I mean, it's not their fault in the laning phase. There's nothing they can do about it, but they have to work with their team to try to stop those invasions from happening. And we do see 77 farm to 41 for Corgi, almost double the farm coming down from MF. That is a huge deal, especially this early in the game. And really, Team Dynamic, a great strategy, great counter jungling so far.
And we're actually seeing the value of Nunu in this bot lane, able to use that consume to quickly take those buffs, take that red buff away from the Legion team. So they're actually gonna not take this turret, content to let the turret take down these minions to prevent Corki from getting CS, and still doing a lot of damage, taking turret hits, but not really caring about it as much.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing is, MF doesn't have a load of lifesteal or regeneration in her back pocket, so she can't really just take that harass and get away with it scot-free. And now Corki is going to have those missiles to farm, as you mentioned, so it's going to be a little bit easier for him, but it's still a lane that is going terribly against Team Legion at this point in time. And they're just going to clear this wave and then maybe head on back. Just such a huge lead, almost 100 CS on MF to barely 50, not even 50 on Corki thus far.
Yep, up at top we see Amumu coming in for an in-lane gank. Relia is fighting with this Yorick a little bit, might be trying to bait it out, and Amumu's still waiting around. We see some pings from Team Dynamic, so they might know that this gank is happening. But Relia is going to go put down a ward to make sure there is no counter gank going down. And Amumu is still waiting in the bush. Is he going to bandage toss out? He's almost in range for a bandage toss if he wants to go in, and he is level 6, so he does have his ultimate. And
he's being very, very patient here. And Scion Spartan's not going to commit, and I don't think Scion Spartan is going to commit to anything.
Oh, and actually, flashes out of that ultimate, so the gank from Amumu does not succeed. Meanwhile, Team Dynamic is taking this dragon. They saw that the Amumu was top, and they know that they're pretty safe because the jungler is top, and they have no fear of getting sniped.
Yeah, absolutely. So really good job by Team Dynamic to, kind of counter that top gank, and really great job by Scion Spartan to flash out before that ultimate even went down. That was crazy. And really across the board, things are going well for Team Dynamic. I mean, they did lose that first blood in kind of unceremonious fashion, but since then everything has been going really, really incredibly well for them. MF has been running around with this red buff the entire time, doing a great job of zoning out the bottom lane and getting a couple levels up on him, and certainly getting a lot of farm ahead.
Yep, and despite being even in kills 1-to-1, that's helping them get a pretty decent lead at least up in gold, because they have almost a 3k gold lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we see Yorick has his Mana Mune. He's going to be able to, harass down top lane to a much greater extent now that he's going to have less mana issue. Bottom lane, the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about for Team Dynamic is I'm not the biggest fan of Wriggle's Lantern. I understand that you can get away with building it on MF, and they've been really heavily counter jungling, so I can see how it benefits them in that way as well. But it means that she's going to be that much further away from building her really late game items, which is kind of a downfall. Certainly nothing that they can't come back from. I mean, certainly not something that's a bad idea. It's just it's a trade-off. Certainly gives more early game power, more trading power in exchange for the potential, building a quicker Infinity Edge or Phantom Dancer or Bloodthirster or any of those items that most AD carries tend to build.
Yep, and they actually managed to take down this tower. So Corki might actually have a little bit of room to farm with this tower down, but it looks like they're actually going to try to keep the pressure up even more, or even still, even though it's so deep into enemy territory right now.
Yeah, they are keeping the pressure up. They do have pretty good ward coverage, and they're not going to get snuck around all the way behind them. But you know, someone just coming straight through the jungle could be dangerous. You know, Amumu's ultimate is coming back up really shortly here, so they have to be worried about that. And blue buff is up again. It looks like Team Dynamic is not in a great position to counter this blue buff, and it looks like a Genki is going to go down on middle.
Yep, and we see the ultimate coming down from Kennen and the ultimate from the Amumu, but the great ultimate from the Cassiopeia helps to keep her alive for a while, and she's actually staying alive and getting away, but no, Irelia's going to come in and finish her off.
Right, but it actually turns out,
yep, and actually a lot of action still going on. Atlanta chasing down this Mumu and does manage to take him out, and now they are going to back off. We see the Aurelia getting very low and does fall to the Yorick, so the battle was still going on, and now they're going to take this blue buff away from Legion.
Yeah, and just kind of, I don't want to say a misstep. Obviously, these are pro players. They're really good, but I think Amumu is going into that battle and probably hoping not to waste his ultimate if he didn't absolutely need it. But the result of that, and
down at bottom, we see MF doing a lot of damage and is going to take out Corki one-on-one. So
that was not close.
Yeah.
Actually, that was kind of close. I mean, she is down to about a quarter of health. But I mean, Corki also had like 10 minions helping him out. So certainly MF coming ahead of that early engage there. Corki does not really have very many items built up. Had boots and 2 Doran's blades, and I don't even know if he purchased those before. Does he still have gold in his? Yeah, he does actually have 1,260 gold. He would probably be building a Sheen here, would be my guess, since he was waiting for those items. But who knows? Oh, actually going to build a more tanky, going for the Phage first instead of the Sheen. I thought maybe since he was waiting for so long, he was just waiting for enough gold just to buy the Sheen outright. Did not happen to be the case. And we actually see Laud Mortis going into the opposing jungle, going to actually do some counter jungling of his own.
Yep.
So as I was saying about
getting some help from Kennen here, and it looks like they are going to be able to take this blue buff away, and Kennen gets it, actually. I would have thought that they would have tried to give it, or that they would have had to try to get it to Amumu, but looks like a fight might break out as Aurelia is caught out, is going to get a lot of damage and falls very quickly as 4 members of Team Dynamic are there. And now they are warding in the Baron area and clearing some wards out, so we'll see what they plan to do. They all go towards mid, and they're going to clear out, maybe try to push down this turret.
Yeah, they actually have an incredible Baroning team, especially MF picking up that Regal's Lantern just means she can do it that much earlier, that much faster. Nunu, of course, gives that Blood Boil, has that ranked up to 5 already. That's 65% attack speed given to MF, and that's constantly on. It is a 15-second cooldown and a 15-second uptime. Nunu doesn't have any cooldown as of yet, it doesn't appear, so he's not going to be able to put it on 2 people or overlap it at all, but still, a 65% attack speed bonus to MF is really big. Olaf is a good Baron clearer. Yorick is actually really good at helping Baron, just because his minions will take the aggro and take some of the debuffs and the attacks away. And Cassiopeia, of course, has great consistent DPS, one of the best mages at doing it along with Karthus. So really great potential for Baron there.
And besides Aurelia at top, looks like Legion is grouping up basically almost all of them at mid and trying to protect mid right now. Up at top, a lot of fighting going on. Aurelia using her ultimate on these minions, getting some of that health back as she protects this turret, but looks like the Team Dynamic is trying to keep up their pressure up at mid, and Olaf is coming around and is going to actually go towards top and is trying to maybe get a kill on this Aurelia.
Yeah, perhaps. They can probably tower dive here, of course. They have 2 very tanky people.
And now they... Oh, actually, Olaf was caught behind the turret a little bit, but manages to get out and pick up that... Actually, Yorick does pick up that kill. Meanwhile, the other members of Team Dynamic go over and pick up this Baron, Nunu using his Consume instead of the Smite from Olaf.
Yeah, and of course that was the dragon. We do get excited. Baron is going to be coming into play pretty soon.
Baron.
Oh, and Demon will actually putting a lot of damage on Zion Spartan, does take him down, and is going down on Atlanta as well. Another missed Amumu ultimate is unfortunate, and Corki does fall down in the end just to the ghost of Yorick. But yeah, pretty good exchange for Team Legion there. Could have turned out even better had that Amumu ultimate not essentially been wasted. He just really didn't want to make sure, or wanted to make sure that no one got away.
I'm gonna rewind a little bit to actually see the beginning of that fight. But we actually see the oh, actually we actually see the York ulting himself and the ultimate from Amumu just whipping completely, and that is how that fight turned out.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty good for Legion. Picked up 2 kills there, and actually picked up kills. Oh wow, actually I missed that kill as I was watching back with you. So we have another kill, a pickup on Lotta Mortis, I suppose. Wait, oh no, I'm just reading that wrong. My bad. it was the killing spree that doubled on Atlanta for whatever reason. So Atlanta's killing spree was ended, and my chat bugged out and said that Lotta Mortis picked that up twice, which would certainly be nice, but I don't think that was actually the case.
Yep, so right now Team Dynamic is looking pretty good. They have an 8-4 lead in kills, and they have a pretty decent 8k gold lead too.
Yeah, absolutely, and they have Olaf running as Zeke's Herald. I love that as a pickup on Olaf. Of course, it gives you that cooldown reduction, and it gives a unique aura, an aura to everyone around of 12% lifesteal and 20% attack speed, so it allows Olaf to sustain in the jungle, gives him that extra cooldown that he really needs for his axes and his E, and gives a really nice bonus to the rest of the team at the same time. So really, right now, Miss Fortune is incredibly strong, like not just by virtue of her own items, and she actually has 1900 gold saved up, so she can go back and rush that Phantom Dancer or build a BF sword. And so I'm saying that Legion actually taking this time to push down middle, so good strategy on their part. That's a very important tower to get. Certainly gives them a lot more map presence and forces Team Dynamics to play on their back foot or to ward up just a little bit more. So good call there. Miss Fortune does pick up the Phantom Dancer, but not only is Miss Fortune very strong in her own right, but she also gets a 65% attack speed bonus from Nunu, and she's getting a 20% attack speed bonus from that Zeke's and an extra 12% lifesteal. So she's just getting so many free stats from her team. It's so essential and such a great addition to any AD carry. Certainly whenever I play an AD carry, if you can give me all those bonuses, I will be incredibly stoked and will do my best for you. And she is also up to 207 farm, which is far and above everyone else in the game, and in particular it is about 76 farm above Corki. So doing a really stellar job, and building a Wriggles can set you behind, but it's not really going to set you behind when you're also 70 minion kills up. When you're so far ahead, and it allows you to increase that lead, which it has, then it's certainly a worthwhile buy.
Yep, and this version has basically always kept that red buff up. The red buff actually being Legion's red buff, and counter-jungling Legion every chance she gets with the Nunu, so using that to her advantage as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I started that out from level 1, stole that red buff away from Team Legion, while Zion Spartan was kind of just messing around up there.
Oh, actually, they're going to try to catch in. A great ultimate from Leona is going to engage, and they're going to be able to take out Miss Fortune very quickly, and that gives Aurelia the red buff, so they actually finally get their own red buff, but a great ultimate from Leona, allowing them to catch the Miss Fortune out of position.
Yeah, no, that was certainly a stellar play, and now it looks like Team Dynamics really worried about them doing Baron. There is not sight on Baron. Is there no sight? No, they have sight on it. I don't know why they were a little bit worried about that or confused running up that way, but Legion's not really able to capitalize. They do pick up the kill. It's very important. MF actually was only 1-1-1, or is now 1-1-1. She only had 1 kill before that, which is incredible, seeing as how much she dominated her lane, and how much she's just been dominating altogether. But only 1 kill mainly was just making up all the difference in farm instead. So they weren't able to capitalize, and now Team Dynamic looks like they're going in for a counter Baron. Could that be what's happening here? No, they do decide to back out. They do have an Oracle on Yorick, and he does finally spot the ward that probably caught them heading towards Baron.
Some coming out from Cannon, but both teams are in that Baron area, actually getting stunned. Yorick and actually being forced to use a health potion. He's taken quite a bit of damage, but looks like they are positioning themselves in the Baron area. The Team Legion trying to prevent the Baron, while Team Dynamic is looking for an opportunity. And it looks like they're both kind of backing off from the Baron right now, and kind of going towards the mid lane, clearing out the minions, and trying to push these lanes.
Yeah, we do see the second pickup, the second real item pickup from Atlanta is a Negatron Cloak, and that's a good idea. Of course, going against a Kennen is going to be soaking a lot of magic damage if he runs through the fight, but also, of course, he didn't really build any magic resist in through his runes, so important to pick it up through the items early on.
And and Legion actually doing a pretty good job clearing these waves and pushing forward. And they're actually going to back off and be... nobody on their team has an Oracle, so they can't clear any wards. So they are unable to establish any control, or as much control of their jungle as they could, as Team Dynamic has so many wards over in the jungle over here and at the blue buff. So they don't quite have as good of a Baron control as they might. They actually don't have a ward at the Baron itself, but they do have one ward here that is helping them get vision. But the Oracle from York is able to help them take it out, and Team Dynamic looks to be in a pretty good position. Leona just puts that ward back up there, but now it looks like both teams are moving towards Dragon.
Right, and Team Dynamic has a huge advantage here. They know exactly when Dragon is up, they have wards covering it, they have oracles, and they do kill it really, really fast. Legion seems like they wanted to challenge it. They might decide on going in here. They are very far behind. They're about 9,000 gold behind, but they do have a really good team fight capability between Kennen and Amumu that they could capitalize on, provided they get the positioning advantage. But Team Dynamic, they're not going to go, face front and go run full head on into Team Legion. Instead, they go right to the red buff and then go for that instead, steal it one more time. And it looked like Legion was heading up towards top turret, but now they have to bad back towards middle turret, and that is taken down from them. So a lot of things happening in quick succession, but Team Dynamic kind of getting the upper hand in all of these, quote-unquote trades. They're not necessarily damage trades, they're just trades. Oh, wow.
Oh, actually, great ultimate from Cassiopeia. She flashes over and is doing a lot of damage. Great ultimate from Misfortune as well. The Amumu ult goes off, as does Nunu ult, and a lot of AoE damage as Kennen is taken down. And now the... Aurelia does fall as well. Corki getting away, and now Leona does die too. So Cassiopeia doing a good job. She did die, but did have the York ult on her, so she was able to clean up some kills, and that means Team Dynamic is going to go for this Baron.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to do this Baron incredibly fast. They have the Consume, obviously. They have that Blood Boil. They have a lot of damage. They have the Soak from those minions and the Madred's Razor. So yeah, this is going down pretty quick. Certainly no chance to counter it, and it is finished up. So actually, that might have been a little bit longer than I expected, but of course they didn't have Cassiopeia.
Actually, looks like the Mumu might get a little bit of caught trying to use that blue buff to get away, but is slowed right now, and the flash from Misfortune is going to get that red buff on him to slow him down, and he does fall. And now that actually means they're going to take that blue buff as well, and Misfortune taking that blue buff.
Alright, I don't even know if she intended to take the blue buff, probably just hit it once or twice and it fell down. She does a lot of damage to minions. We do see Yorick picking up a Frozen Mallet. That's a really interesting pickup on Yorick. Don't see that too often. I like it quite a bit, but it's, not really the item I see as being core on him. And Team Dynamic also has 2 Shurelya's Reveries now, so they're going to be able to engage at will. Not only do they have those 2 Reveries, but they have the 15% movement speed bonus from Nunu. So yeah, they're potentially going to be moving at very high rates of speed very soon. And now they have also that Baron buff. A lot of them, I guess, decided not to go back and buy. MF in particular has 2,700 gold unspent. 2,700 gold. So that would be almost an Infinity Edge. I don't think she can quite make it. I'm not sure about my math. Oh, it's actually 2,800 gold now. Might have just been able to do it. I was going to have to sell a Doran's Blade and then does pick up the Infinity Edge. So yeah, was very close there, but now a really, really damaging MF that can be augmented by Zeke's Herald and by Blood Boil. And yeah, at this point, Legion...
Impure shots as well.
Yeah. Impure shots as well, so she's going to have incredible attack speed when she's amongst the group. Actually, next time she gets Blood Boiled and in Zeke's Herald's range, I'm going to have to check that out just to see how fast she's actually attacking. Of course, the attack speed cap is 2.5.
She's attacking at 2.4 now.
Wow.
So she is basically at the cap and attacking very quickly and doing a lot of damage. They take down that turret very quickly, and now they're just going to come in and try to take down this inhibitor turret, and with the next wave, or they're actually going to transition to top, try to take that as it is more exposed and easier to take it down. Ward coming out, and Legion is actually scared to even come out to defend this turret.
Yeah, I think at this point they're so far behind that they probably feel like they have to give up that turret. Mortis does get caught out. Is he going to land his ultimate?
No, and he does fall, and the ultimate came out from Leona, but nothing came of that, and now Team Dynamic is going to back off after taking down the Amumu. And meanwhile, we see Misfortune is just hitting this turret, and they're going to take that down as well.
Yeah, really. So much attack speed. It's sitting at over 2 a second. That's without impure shots going on. With impure shots, like you said, 2.4. Just incredible amounts of attack speed. Really, any more attack speed items would be essentially wasted on her. So good showing thus far, and now they're going to get this inhibitor for free as well. Mumu still down for 10 more seconds, and they might push on to this next turret as well. So they're just kind of steamrolling all through these turrets, kind of daring Legion to come out and fight them, and Legion's going to have to do it. And I've seen Legion come back from really incredible, games where they were down by thousands, tens of thousands of gold, but this one seems very, very desperate at this point. They're going to have to do something incredible, like catch a perfect Mumu ultimate into a perfect Kennen ultimate, and even then I'm not sure if it'll be quite enough. At this point, Kennen actually does not have a Zhonya's, and they've been able to burst him down in the fights before he's able to, do an incredible amounts of damage.
Yep, looks like Team Dynamic is just backing off for now, content with the 2 inhibitors. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Legion to clear those waves, so they can go back, buy up, and come back and maybe push again, or maybe try to take some more objectives and try to use this Baron buff. The Baron buff actually running out now, so they will not have Baron anymore while they push. But they are far enough ahead that they can probably just push without it.
Yeah, they certainly can. MF actually picks up another red buff. She's had just about every single red buff in the game. Has 600 gold to her name, and that is, of course, increasing after every one of those minions, so can go back and buy another big-ticket item. I'm interested in seeing, whether, 1, she goes back and actually buys any more items, and 2, whether she's going to buy a defensive item, such as a Quicksilver Sash, or a Guardian Angel, work towards a Guardian Angel, or if she's going to go straight towards a Bloodthirster or one of those more offensive-related items. And as I'm saying that, a lot of Mortis getting caught out again, has to flash away, and wow, the flash follows up from Paradoxical. And if they couldn't push on the turrets before, they certainly can now. A Mumu down for 40 seconds.
And looks like Kennen's coming in with the ultimate, and does get taken down, but that seems to be the last stand for Legion right now. Leona is falling very low, does fall, and now Aurelia is going to drop as well, and Corki is able to get back, but he is the only one. The last inhibitor looks like will go down, and now they're going to work on these Nexus turrets and try to push for the win.
Yeah, absolutely, and that seems to be it. Zion Spartan diving in the turret actually does not even get hit by the base turret. His ghouls kind of, I guess they attracted the turret aggro and didn't make him get hit. Mummy is up, but he's not going to be able to do too much, and the turret base is getting taken out very slowly. Looks like Nunu does go down, stacking, padding their stats a little bit. Actually, Corki ends up 2-2. So the bottom lane, like on paper, 2-2 for Leona, 2-2 for Corki. You would not even guess how thoroughly dominated they got throughout the game, and not by fault of their own, by fault of the fact that they lost their jungle, they lost their buff. It was all a team concerted effort. So at 8-17, 31-minute game, pretty much besides giving up first blood, Team Dynamic had it in the bag the entire rest of the time. So really good show, and we are going to move on and continue